Hello and welcome to Oh Brother, a podcast about Salford/Manchester's legendary musical institution, The Fall. Each week we invite along a guest to discuss their memories and relationship with the group and anything else we care to talk about. For this episode we welcomed along Andy Dawson, journalist, writer and award-winning podcaster, as one half of Top Flight Time Machine, Unserious Darts and Athletico Mints, all of which are fantastic of course. Hope you enjoy it. Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Oh Brother with me, Paul Hanley.
Hello, and me, Steve Hanley.
Hey, we're getting good at that, getting really slick at that.
Oh, yeah.
The first 5 weeks, it was a bit... so today we are delighted, I'm always delighted to introduce top podcaster, journalist, writer and actor. We'll get on to his acting in a bit. Mr. Andy Dawson, how are you, sir?
Hello there, thank you very much. Yeah, I forgot I'd done some acting. I'm good, thanks. You?
Good. Now, if at any point you're unfamiliar with the podcasting process, let me know. Because I know you're a bit of a virgin in these things.
Yeah, I'll struggle through. It'll be all right.
I can't pick up the bloody Spotify these days without 15 more podcasts from you. Right, so we'll get on to all your various podcasts in a moment. But first thing we always ask is, we have to at least pretend it's about the Fall, this podcast. So for the first few minutes we try and get at least mention the name. So what was your first encounter with the Fall then, either live or on record?
First encounter with the Fall. You're going to be stunned to hear this. It was on the John Peel show on Radio 1.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it'll have been about 86, 87, I think. And I can still remember the first two Fall songs that I heard him play that just got me immediately. First one was Totally Wired, which is a great one to hook you into the Fall. And then the second one was Tempo House.
Yeah. That's all me and him, isn't it?
Yeah, but both of them had obviously been made a few years previously, but Peel was still, bringing them out and playing them to try and get a new audience into them. So they were the two, and obviously Totally Wired's a brilliant pop song. Tempo House slightly different, but it just got me into the sound of them, and there was no looking back after that, really. Yeah, I was
recorded at the hacienda, that Tempo House.
Yeah,
recorded live at the hacienda.
Right.
Yeah,
right. But they were the two, and as I say, it was about 87. So then that was kind of the, if you like, pop era of the Fall. It was quite easy to get into the Fall's new stuff that was coming out around then. So the first album I bought will have been probably Friends Experiment, which was 87, I think.
Yeah.
And then obviously
that was on Phonogram.
Oh, that's when they had money.
Was it?
No. Was it Beggars Banquet?
Beggars. Yeah, it was Beggars, and then there was the Curious Orange.
They love that. All the Fall fans love it when we get facts wrong about the Fall. They love it.
It was Beggars Banquet.
Of course, it was Beggars. So that was on Beggars Banquet, wasn't it?
That was on Beggars.
Good easy edit for you there, mate. So that was when they had money. That was after I'd left. They had money by then. So did you see the Fall live around then?
I saw them for the first time at Sunderland Polytechnic, which will have been around 1990, I think, which was just after. What was the album that came out? The first one on Fontana. Extricate, yeah, it was the Extricate tour. Sunderland Poly. Saw them a few times after that.
No, 90.
90, sorry.
Yeah, in early 1990, I think that was. Saw them a few times, varying degrees of enjoyment.
There you go. There's your episode title right there. Varying degrees of enjoyment.
It was like being in the band.
I do remember that first one really clearly because Mark had his lectern on stage, and obviously he was doing all the stuff of going around twiddling with everybody's amps and all that kind of thing. So it was pretty prime.
Into that period then, were we?
Well into it.
Oh, right.
Then, yeah.
Yeah, that was 1990. And
then the mic didn't last long in the bass drum. In them days.
It was fake though, wasn't it?
Was it?
Had a fake bass drum in the mic, so in the fake mic in the bass drum, so that if Mark launched it out, the other one, the one that was actually doing the work, was still there.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw some of that action going on, definitely.
Yeah, tell you what, you do sometimes. You one of them big drum mics if you hit someone on the noggin with that, wouldn't you? If he's launching that across the stage.
Well, it wasn't really throwing at anybody.
Wasn't it?
No, it was just taking it out of out of the.
What? I know we're never going to get an answer. What's the purpose?
What are the purpose
of removing the bass drum mic from the bass drum?
Maybe try and get Simon to hit it harder. Maybe, but if there's any logic to that, I don't know.
I don't think there is. He wouldn't even bleed nobody. He probably couldn't even see it.
The poor people at the back of Sunderland Polytechnic.
What's the name of what university is that now? In Newbury?
It's just now the University of Sunderland. They just changed the name sometime in the 90s, I think, when they got rid of the polytechnics. But
right. So you had the poly, but no uni. That can't be right.
Yeah. We just had the polytechnic. There's still just one university now. I mean, Newcastle's got two. I saw them. Yeah. I saw the fall at one of the
two. How many have we got? We got 4, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not a university swinging contest, is it?
It's like football teams. All the best places have more than one team as well, don't they?
I've got a question. When did that whole thing start with him doing that, of twiddling the knobs and hurling microphones around?
Gradually, I mean, really.
How can it start gradually? It has to be one day he wasn't doing it, the next day he was. It can't be gradual.
Yeah, but he got more and more.
He didn't move as far.
When he started way back in early 80s.
Did he?
Yeah.
Doing what? To turning the volume?
Trying to turn the volume.
Well, I think...
It really pissed me off.
Yeah,
but when he started getting into it more, as he realised it was pissing people off.
I think that's an interest.
Yeah.
I think the rot set in when we stopped having a spare instrument on stage, I think. Because he could, in the old days, when I was in the band, he could piss about on the keyboards and make some racket.
Or get a spare guitar.
A spare guitar or whatever. If he was at a loss for a 10-minute musical interlude. Once everyone was playing everything, the only recourse he had was to start messing with the amps.
Yeah, no, I've never got the live mixing. It wasn't about that. It wasn't about that.
No. And he did stop doing it. Once he liked everyone in the band, he did stop doing it, didn't he? Not that you'd ever done.
All right. Well, that's that question answered. Yeah. But yes, I saw them one night at the Tyne Theatre in Newcastle, and then after the show, he slipped on some ice outside the venue, and I think he broke his hip. That'll have been late 90s, I think.
Possibly near the 2000s. That was after you.
Early 2000.
Oh, that's nasty, that. Bloody hell.
So I think that might have been, that was probably the rest of the tour cancelled if it wasn't already the last show of the tour.
Yeah.
And
did he do any wheelchair dates then? Or that was later on, was it?
Yeah, I think
so. He soldiered on, though. You've got to give him that. Christ almighty.
Oh, yeah, he was a grafter. No doubt about that, yeah. And there was one show that the Sage in Gateshead. I saw them there, and they did about 30 minutes, and for whatever reason, he got the hump and went off. And everyone in the crowd was pissed off at that one. And I swore never again. That might have been the last one I went to, actually.
Well, you swore it then. You stuck to it.
Yeah, stuck to it, yeah. That would have been about 2006, maybe. But by then, I had 2 kids, so I hardly ever got to leave the house anyway. So,
so did you see the band after... Between when the first time you saw them, and then when did you see them after that?
Yeah, a few times through the 90s. First one was, like I say, 1990. So pretty much every time they were in the Northeast. Saw them at the Reading Festival once, probably 1990 again. But a few times of like I say, varying levels of enjoyment. But you know what you're going to get, really, don't you?
You can go and see Coldplay in the good every night. What's the point of that?
Well, exactly. Yeah. You got no idea what you're going to get, but you do know what you're going to get is something that you're probably not going to get, if that makes sense.
It's like McDonald's versus high-end food, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what you're getting. You've got perfectly good. You're going to get the same thing every time, aren't you?
Yeah, of course.
Which is probably good if you're in, some parts of the world you don't want to get the shits. It's probably a good idea to go on McDonald's. I don't know where I'm going with that analogy. I don't know where did that finish off. So that was the last time you saw them, once you vowed never to see them again. Why were they that bad?
No,
I think it was one of them. They did 30 minutes, and there was I think he didn't come on for the first 10 for whatever reason, and then they were off after half an hour.
Put the effort in for another 20 minutes.
Yeah. I almost went to what turned out to be, I think, the penultimate gig just before he passed away. They played Newcastle, but I'd seen some photographs of the gig the night before, and he was looked in a really bad way, and I just thought, I don't want to go and see him like that.
No, I don't blame you.
I
I mean, you talk to Pete and Kieran about that. It was horrible. You know, I mean, they were trying to get him not to do them. He knew it wasn't in his best interest, but like you say, that was what he did, wasn't it, Mark?
Yeah. So the varying degrees of entertainment, I think, describes it best.
Yeah. So speaking of sweary individuals who don't compromise, I was going to ask you about getting the C, because I used to love that. I used to love that when it was a Twitter.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah,
I never knew it was you, obviously, but some of the swearing in there was heroic, I have to say.
Thank you very much.
Metaphorical cap.
Yeah, I mean,
were you really that worked up about everything?
Sorry,
were you really that worked up about everything?
I think I was at the time. With hindsight, there was a lot of underlying stresses in my life. Let's just say, at the time. So that kind of outburst of anger came quite easily. But a lot of the targets in it were like kind of people who were kind of chancers or grifters, people who were on the make, people who were opening cafes in London where they sold a bowl of breakfast cereal for $3.95.
Is it still going, that the breakfast cafe?
Possibly.
Surely they don't sell anything past 10:30 in the morning if you've got a breakfast. Who's having cereal at 4:00 in the afternoon?
Yeah. So it was that kind of thing. That kind of thing. Plus, of course, you had like the rise of Donald Trump at the time, and the Tories, and Brexit happened around then as well. So there was lots to get angry about. And just,
good therapy for that, I think. Get it all out on Twitter, and you can be a calm, serene person.
Yeah, it caught on. And I think being anonymous kind of helped as well, because if people could kind of put a face to it or a name to it, these days they'd go after you, and there'd be some kind of pitchfork wielding social media theatre about it all. But
you had one of them, didn't you? You had
I had one of them as well. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Is it still sub judice? Are we allowed to talk about it now? Is it statute of limitations?
I'm not sure. I picked up a police caution for it, so that expires in about a year and a half's time, I think, and then I'm allowed to work with children again.
Not allowed to work with Michael Gove, but that's a different matter.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's no regrets. You turned out to be right.
I said some things about him that maybe history will look at me kindly. Let's just say that.
There's no maybe about it. Bloody hell. So how did you hook up with Bob Mortimer then? Was that through Twitter?
That was through Twitter as well, yeah. I probably going back about 2012, I reckon, because I'd been on Twitter for a few years trying to be funny, trying to generate work, because I was a freelance writer for a long time, writing kind of funny stuff for newspapers, magazines, online things, bits of TV script work. So Twitter was a really good kind of shop window, if you like, for being funny, and then hopefully people would have a look and, give me some work on the back of it. But yeah, I just remember Bob had appeared on Twitter, so I followed him, as you would. And then one day I'd posted a picture of a portable plastic greenhouse that I'd bought from Aldi for 25 quid, and it was reduced from 40. I was very, very proud of this. Very proud of this. First thing I thought was I must put this on Twitter. I thought, this is a bargain. And then within about half an hour, there's a reply from Bob Mortimer, and he replied, "You're a fucking idiot. What the fuck did you buy that for? That's a load of shit. That's going to go over in the black freeze." And I just thought, well, first of all, I was stunned that he'd replied, but then I just thought, well, I'll just give him some back. So I just started to insult him, and that's how it kind of started off. We're just insulting each other on Twitter. I remember, one time there was a tweet that came through. I mean, these have all been long since deleted, because obviously, but there was a tweet that came through. "Hello, Andy. My wife's just saying what a cunt you are." And it was that kind of level. And then we ended up going for a few pints after a recording of the sitcom that he did with Vic, House of Fools.
Oh yeah.
So me and him had a few pints, and I think that was the first time we discussed doing a podcast together. Even though we weren't completely sure what a podcast was, but and we worked on a couple of telly ideas that didn't get anywhere, then started doing the podcast in 2016, and it's still going to this day.
Very well.
Yeah, it's a dream come true stuff.
Did you ever grow anything in the greenhouse?
The greenhouse is still in the box. It's in my shed. I figured that if I unleash it from the box, it might kind of break the look that it created.
Well, I mean, the selling point of a portable greenhouse is pretty great. It's still in the box. Everything's portable when it's in the box.
I guess it is, yeah. But it led to a nice career change. So I thought, I'm going to leave that in the box. I'm not going to jinx it by taking it out and putting it up, just for the sake of growing a few tomatoes.
Yeah. It'd be like the Ravens leaving the Tower of London. If you
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So Athletico Minster, I mean, it's massive, isn't it? Is there much preparation goes into that? Because I can't mind up whether there's hours and hours of preparation or you just do it on the fly, which I suppose is the best podcast, really, isn't it? When you can't be sure.
Yeah. There's a fair bit of script writing goes into.
No one ever asked that about this one.
No.
No, there's a fair bit of writing that goes into it. There's some stuff that's off the cuff, but the longer sketches that are in it are all written. And I'm not sure how many podcasts there are around that have kind of scripted stuff in them, because there's a lot of
not many
comedy ones that kind of just get away with doing the well, let's talk about our favourite cake or whatever, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, we'll get onto that in a minute. That's our new feature that we have. Favourite cakes of the North East. Well, I mean, it's a chances game, isn't it? Podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, the worst one I've heard. I'm not sure you're allowed to say this. I'll get our lawyers on it. But there's one with Marcus Brigstock and Sarah, what's her name, his wife, and they had 20 minutes the other day on microwaves. And I was thinking, this is like a parody of this, but I'm not sure what it was. Yeah,
there's a lot of them that I think you've got a lot of stand-up comedians who need to probably prepare what they're kind of going to say. I think a bit more on podcasts. Yeah. They're not necessarily as funny off the cuff as they think. This is controversial stuff.
We're on dodgy ground here.
This is controversial stuff. Yeah, not naming any names, but it seems that everyone's got a podcast these days, and we'll just see how long they last, I guess.
Yeah. What series are we on? Three. Oh, well, there you go. We've got the legs, haven't we? So, the thing about Athletico, I was asking you about how much preparation goes into it. There's a lot then.
Yeah, there's a fair bit of writing goes into it. The kind of the week before we record a new episode is pretty stressful, because I'm sat there trying to write stuff that's going to not be completely, humiliated in the presence of someone like Bob. And I'm not sure I always pull it off, but I give it a good go. But it's there's a lot of work behind the scenes before we sit down and do it. But hopefully it sounds as if it's kind of off the cuff.
Yes,
I think
it does.
Being sat in a studio together, you can obviously we come up with stuff that we're not prepared for, but you get what it is. We write stuff kind of separately, so we don't collaborate on the scripted stuff. Yeah. So it's always pretty much a surprise to the other one whenever we do something. Yeah. So you kind of get that genuine reaction of laughter or stony silence. Yeah.
You can definitely tell that the laughter's real.
Yeah. I hope so anyway. Yeah.
I love the dynamic where he's the posh one. That's tremendous, that. From Middlesbrough.
Well, exactly. Well, this is the thing. He's obviously a millionaire, national treasure who is from Middlesbrough but moved down south many, many years ago. So that makes me the lesser of the duo, I think.
I mean, the telephone guy, that started sort of on Athletico Minster, didn't it? That did quite well for itself. The train guy,
Train guy. Yeah, he's kind of like a spin-off of one of the characters from Mince called Barry Homeowner, and then Bob started doing them on the train. And I'm sure there's still thousands of people who follow Bob who love Train Guy, but have got absolutely no idea that Mince exists.
Well, it's funny, right? I mean, there's plenty of people who do know it exists. It's pretty bloody popular, isn't it?
It is. You look at the numbers of followers that it's got and how many he's got on social media, for example, and there's a big gulf. But it's kind of like, it's almost like it's his dark little secret, because there's lots of swearing in it, and it's a little bit away from his national treasure image of the bumbling fisherman. That but I mean, he's more well known for.
knows his work, it is pretty. There's some pretty surreal stuff there. You know, he's not Ronnie Coleman, is he?
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, I'm probably biased, but I think on Mince, there's some of the best stuff that he's ever done in his entire career. And probably because we've got that creative freedom that you have with the podcast where there's no commissioners or executive producers telling you what to do, what you can and can't say. And that's the beauty of it, really, when you get down to it. The fact that we can just do whatever we want. No one's telling us otherwise and just go off our own instincts. And it's really fertile creatively, especially for somebody like Bob. Yeah,
it's quite free. So have you had any feedback from naming, without Peter Beardsley, perhaps? Have he said anything?
We've heard nothing, but I think all of the main characters that are in Mince, I'm sure, have been made aware of it. Let's just say that. But we've never had any. We've never had any direct feedback from any of them. But I mean,
that's good. I suppose no news is good news, then, isn't it? I suppose, isn't it?
There's been no legal threats. Put it that way. But I mean, there's been times. There was a time when I saw Steve McLaren doing an online web Q&A thing, and I looked at it and it was just full of people asking him about carpets and about Casper the Snake and all that kind of thing. And he must have just been either completely bewildered about it or he was in on the joke and he was aware of it. But I don't know. And it's probably best not to know, to be quite honest.
It probably is, yeah. If you're fretting about that, it'd kind of be a bit restricting, wouldn't it, I suppose?
Yeah. I did actually get a message from Mark Lawrenson's son, who's a fan of the podcast. And he says that Mark Lawrenson is aware of it, kind of, but doesn't really understand what a podcast is, so therefore doesn't really care. So that's as good as it can be, I think.
Yeah. He probably thinks it's a bit woke for him, isn't it, I think?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, your other podcast, the Top Flight Time Machine, how did that come about then? That's football,
that was kind of,
ostensibly football.
Mince was meant to be football, and it deviated away from that pretty quickly because we realised that our opinions about football didn't matter to anybody and they were stupid, really. So Top Flight Time Machine it started out as an attempt to cover every Premier League season in each episode, which obviously gave it quite a short shelf life. But once again, within about 2 or 3 months, we realised that there were so many other better things to talk about than football. And it's now mutated into this, it's almost like a daily radio show. We do one episode each day, 5 days a week. Right. Me and Sam Delaney, journalist, writer, radio presenter, funny guy. And we've kind of got various little threads and themes that go throughout it. So on a Thursday, we do the Melchester Odyssey, where we're working through every issue of Roy of the Rovers from 1980 onwards. We're up to about 1985 now. So we just go through the Roy of the Rovers stories in each issue of that comic. We do a thing called History Box, which could be anything in history, where we'll just cover over 2 or 3 episodes. Yeah. We do a Monday and a Friday episode, which are kind of topical. We'll just talk about whatever's going on. And we spread them out throughout the week, and we've got a nice loyal following. And again, it's lovely because there's no, it's creative freedom. There's nobody telling you what to say, what not to say. You can swear if you want to, and it stands or falls on how many listeners you get. Basically, if people stop listening, we'd stop doing it. But at the minute, it's doing quite well. So
seems to take it on.
Definitely, and it's lovely. Those 2 podcasts. That's me pretty much work wise at the minute. After years and years of doing freelance writing for various other people, I'm now kind of my own boss.
Am I right in saying you wrote for Dick and Dom?
Yeah, I did a thing on a TV series, did a few bits of script on that. Dick and Dom's Funny Business was on BBC 2, again about 15 years ago, I think. But yeah, bits of telly stuff. I started off writing for the NME.
Yeah.
In 1995.
So who were your contemporaries at the NME when you were there then?
Well, the guy who edited the page that I wrote for, I used to write for the page called Thrills, which was kind of like news stories and made up comedy sort of stuff. Yeah. So the guy that edited that was Johnny Cigarettes, and then David Stubbs took over the editing of that. Yeah. God, I'm trying to think who else, because I never actually worked in the office. I was up here in Sunderland sending stuff down by fax once a week to get put into the magazine. So that was the first thing I did. But then I kind of graduated to magazines like Loaded and Front Magazine, some of the lads' mags, writing stuff for them. And it's always been kind of like being in the jungle and just kind of swinging from vine to vine and just hoping you don't slip and fall to the ground.
Have you always been freelance then?
Always been freelance, yeah, pretty much. But I've always been based up here in Sunderland, so it's tricky to not be anything else other than freelance. I never made that move of going down to live in London, and that probably would have been better career-wise at the time, but it's turned out all right in the end because I wouldn't probably end up working with Bob if I'd been down in London.
So this might sound like a northeastern cliche. Have you never written for Viz then? I'm sure
I have done stuff for Viz. Yeah, I did do stuff for Viz. A few bits. Again, it was about 17, 18 years ago now, and I was in touch with them, and I kind of said, "What's the best time of the month to send stuff in for consideration?" Because obviously they were getting lots of submissions from people, and they said, "Well, there's like a 5-day period each issue when we kind of look at stuff." I said, "Oh, well, when's that then?" They went, "Oh, it depends when we do it." And I thought, that's not very well organised, is it? So that was tricky. But getting back to Viz, if I can just talk about influences on becoming a writer, the two main ones were Viz and Vic and Bob. And we're talking about around about 1990 again here, because it kind of just showed that you've got people from the Northeast with authentic Northeast voices who can do something and get somewhere in comedy and entertainment. Because before that, kind of a lot of the comedy stuff, there was the alternative comedians, but it was still kind of Oxbridge flavoured. If not that, then university, like Rick Mail and Adrian Edmondson went to Manchester University, but they didn't have regional accents, if you know what I mean.
No, I do.
So the Viz and Vic and Bob coming along at the time that they did and being as hugely successful as they were kind of made me think, I could maybe do this. It's not boxed off for certain other people in society and in other locations. So they were like massive in terms of getting me going and things like that. So
I mean, I'm on one of Viz's best T-shirts, me. I don't like to tell people about it.
No.
Which one's that?
NatWest T-shirt. That's me.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll put that out and have a look.
I'm due a new one. If either the Donald brothers are listening in, I'm due a new T-shirt. I'm kind of.
How did that come about then?
Don't fit anymore.
How did that come about?
Well, it's a picture of the fall
from the photo
session, and they cut me off and made me into no work, no job. Well, fuck off. Very flattering.
Oh, brilliant! Great stuff.
I haven't got a T-shirt at the moment, unless certainly not the one that fits. But I'm not buying one. I was a medium when they first sent one.
You do with an XL now.
Slim? Slim fit XL, if they do. Triple XL, slim fit.
Yeah.
So, Mark was on Viz really early on the phone.
Right.
Viz, really.
Yeah.
Well, he's famous. Mark's the first one, apparently, the first person to ever say Viz, not as good as it used to be. And he said that about issue 4.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right. Definitely.
Yeah, they used to send it us, didn't they?
They did, yeah. I had a free subscription, which ran out very bloody quickly as well. But never got any money. But so Viz was.
I was going to say I've still got a subscription to it because it's still great. It is
exactly as it ever was. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's exactly the same, but I don't have the
it probably isn't as good as it used to be, but it's still a damn sight better than the majority of other stuff that's around there.
Yeah. I mean, does it sell well these days? I'm sure it must not as well as it did at the height.
Not as well as it did, but I think they're operating out of a bedroom again, which is kind of like where they started, or they're operating out of a shed of one of the two guys that still edits it. So it's come full circle. Yeah, but it's. Yeah.
I mean, just to have a print edition these days is a bit of an achievement, isn't it? More than the enemy couldn't manage.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of a sad thing that the NME and the Melody Maker's not around.
Well, I don't think people take. Oh well, and this is again a bit of a clear. I don't think people take music as seriously now. Certainly not in terms of writing. I mean, there is a lot of writing about music. A lot of it's online, isn't it? Obviously, like Quietus and things like that, and Louder Than Words, Louder Than War, I should say. But It's not, again,
it's rarely criticises anymore, does it?
No.
There's a lot of writing about music, but it's
No, I
not.
agree. Like when you do some of the, it's all monthly magazines now, kind of Record Collector and Mojo and Uncut, but you rarely see a 2 out of 5 interview or a review rather, or a 1 out of 5.
Which is it's kind of understandable. If everybody's operating on a shoestring, you don't want, you got somebody. I mean, but it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to have a go at a big artist and say this isn't as good. But they don't even seem to do that, do they?
No.
I can understand with young artists or with up and coming artists where you don't want to piss all over them, but some critical writing about, that bands that aren't struggling for money wouldn't go amiss, I don't think. But people don't buy it to read that anymore, do they? People don't buy magazines to read about bands they're not interested in, if you see what I mean. Which was always the beauty of me. You could read an interview with somebody who you didn't give a shit about their music, but if the interview was good.
Yeah. And that's the thing with Mark, the interviews were always brilliant. They were always really readable.
He was a master at interviews because he didn't try and be himself or make himself in a good light. He just had something he wanted to say, which must have been quite hard for a journalist.
After he died, you'd see tributes from various music writers of the 70s and 80s who'd say that they'd be dispatched up to Manchester and go to a pub with Mark, and he'd ply them with whiskey, and they'd be kicked back down south again 5 hours later.
Good at that.
Yeah. It's great. Which is really good. But I think
Bills and a whiskey chaser in the Malmaison. They only lasted 2 hours. They couldn't hack it any longer.
Yeah, I think as well though, like the stuff, the enemy and interviews with artists, you would get them talking about their influences and the people they liked, and that would set you off. It was almost like you were reading a map. You were trying to chart your own kind of path into the stuff that you were into, because back then there was no Spotify. Obviously, you tape things off John Peel. Home taping didn't kill music. It turned out it was pretty valuable. But as well for me, like there was a record library in Sunderland. And that was a brilliant gateway for getting to hear stuff that it was almost like your Spotify back then was the record library. You'd hear about groups, or you'd hear 1 or 2 songs on John Peel, or somebody in the NME would talk about who they were into, and you'd see their records or CDs in the record library, get them out, take them home, and then you just go a little bit further into that map that you're charting for yourself of your cultural map, if you like, of what you're into. And it was more of a mission back then, I think, and now everything's just there on a plate, and you just take it for granted a bit more.
Yeah, you do. And conversely, you don't take it as seriously, do you? If it's easy, to get, it's more dismissible. But I mean, I think I keep finding myself saying, you just sound like an old fart, don't you? Really, without the young people today, they don't appreciate music properly, which I think they do. It's just different, isn't it? I suppose.
I think as well, though, I think they appreciate the whole gamut of music going right back to 50s and 60s, because a lot of the influences come from, apparently, I'm told, TikTok. And certain songs from the past will become viral on TikTok, and then all the kids are in them. Like the stuff I've heard my kids listening to, I've got no idea how they've got into them, but it's stuff from the past, but it's stuff that they've heard on TikTok, and they're kind of doing that, a bit of following their own path, but it's just a different way of doing it, I guess.
Yeah, there's nothing less attractive than old people saying young people don't know what they're talking about. But I do find myself going into it. Yeah,
but my kids will prefer to have, radio-wise, they prefer to have absolute 80s on in the car on Radio 1.
Yeah, well, actually, it's funny that, isn't it? Because
it has kind of made music timeless, hasn't it? Yeah, with it all being there. And,
but the one I don't understand is the radio station in Manchester. Is it XFM? Is it? Well, it's not just Manchester, but it's been early 90s Oasis for at least 15 years. You would think by now they should be on 2015, shouldn't they? If you think they're not. If you got 15 years on 1992 and they're still into 1992, well, as you can see, when Oasis reformed, the whole bloody world went on.
Yeah, I think the speed of progression of change in music has just slowed down so much.
Yeah,
because there's kind of only so much you can do. You look at the difference between, let's say, the music that was out in 1970 and then what was out in 1977.
Yeah,
just a vast array of different styles, and now it's kind of. I think it almost came to a halt in the mid-90s with Oasis and that, because groups like that started looking backwards instead of looking forwards, and they were getting their influences from older stuff, and the kind of level of progressions just slowed down, I think,
Yeah.
almost come to a stop. Like, you can
think
listen
so.
to a Coldplay song from now, and it'll sound exactly like a Coldplay song from 2012.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, so Taylor Swift, she seems to move on quite well.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's probably there's more progression in chart pop than there
Yeah.
is in any other genre.
I think so. Yeah, I think bands have far more kind of sound like bands, don't they? I mean,
There's not as many bands anymore.
no.
I read something recently.
If you look at bands in the charts, it's gone, hasn't it? I mean,
Or you're not supposed to call them bands, as Mark always says. It's groups, not bands.
Groups. Yeah.
So
I still don't know what the difference is.
it just sounds better. But there's not as many, and I think it's because you can do everything now on a computer. You can make a single on an iPhone if you want to.
Yeah.
And there's not the same need for artists to get together in the same room and collaborate together as there was.
It's dear as well, though, isn't it? Starting a band.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it's hard work. But that's the future and the past and the present dealt with.
Yeah, okay. The only thing which brings me on to your acting career before we wrap up for the day, because you're the second person we've had in this series who's featured in a Ken Loach film.
Really?
We had Steve Evans on first episode.
All right. Yeah.
We've got you in the Old Oak, I believe.
Well, I wasn't as prominent as Steve Evans was. In his Ken Loach film, but I was in there for about 18 seconds altogether. Yeah, it was the Old Oak. It was just something that a friend of mine said. They'd seen a thing that a production company were looking for. I think it was males 45 to 55. I think they just wanted someone who just looked beaten down and knackered. And I thought, that's me.
What they can do with makeup.
So I sort of applied for it and ended up going for a little meeting with Ken and the casting director of the film, and then got asked back to do like a kind of a read through. It wasn't really a read through; it was kind of an improvisation thing with a couple of other fellas.
Yeah,
ended up getting a very small part in it, and it was great. It was the year of my 50th birthday, and it felt like a really nice gift to have been given in the universe to spend. I think I was there for about 5 days on set, just to be in a Ken Loach film and just to take in how it works and everything and how he works, and just to be part of it all. And I think I'm on screen for about 20 seconds, 30 seconds altogether. I've only got a couple of lines, but
pivotal,
it was just
pivotal, obviously. Pivotal to the plot. The film falls apart without your bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, a lot of people have said that. There's been a lot of talk online. A lot of people online have said that under various pseudonyms. I'm not saying that I'm responsible for any of that.
If only you knew someone who was good with coming up with strange pseudonyms.
Yeah, exactly. But it was just a really great, fun thing to do, and it was a nice thing to have on the CV and a nice thing to have done. So
you've got an IMDb page now, so there you go.
IMDb page, it's pretty sparse.
We've got one, have we? Yeah, for Silence of the Lambs, yeah.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah. So that's it's not up there with Hugh Grant's, it's not a lot of pixels gone into it, but there you go. Just before we go, we've not asked you about the darts yet.
Yeah,
you enjoying the darts at the minute?
I love the darts, always and forever. Yeah, it replaced football as my favourite sport massively.
Has it?
Oh, massively.
Does that say more about Sunderland or more about darts?
That says more about football in general, I think.
Yeah.
Football's kind of gone down the pan a little bit, or maybe I'm just getting old. I don't know, but the darts is it's me one true love. I do a podcast now with my son about darts called Unserious Darts, and it's just because I got him into darts about 10 years ago when he was 7, because he was just beginning to get into WWE wrestling. Okay. And I thought I'm not fucking having this. I need to head this off. I need to head this off at the pass, otherwise I'm going to be going to like arena shows, stood there with placards and stuff, watching wrestling.
How did he get a chair into the ring?
Yeah, so I managed to manipulate him into liking darts, and it's our thing now. So we try and get down to the Ali Pali to the World Championships every year when that's on over
It's
Christmas.
Everything darts, isn't it? I mean, in terms of structure, well, if you want to get the way it's scored is like probably the best way a game could be, as they compared to tennis. If you've got a tennis match, the first 4 games don't mean anything, whereas in darts, every match is important, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. I saw someone recently describe it as it's almost like the same vibe as a penalty shootout in football, which is kind of right, but kind of isn't, but is maybe the closest thing you can get to describing it. There's always that jeopardy and drama going on usually. But yeah, love it. And Dartsmas, as I now call Christmas, when the World Championships is on, it's the highlight of the year. You know, that's me from the 14th of December onwards, just sat in me reclining armchair for 3 weeks watching the dart. Love it.
Yeah, the other thing they've got right is, which they kind of beat Formula One to, is they've made it a kind of soap as well, haven't they? You've got characters now, which is another big thing in sport.
Yeah, that's definitely it. You can that kind of almost goes back to the wrestling thing. You've got kind of good guys and bad guys almost.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
root for your favourites for various different reasons, and there's that feeling of drama about it. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, love it.
Luke Littler, he's the guy to follow, isn't he? You're a big fan of his?
I love him. He just set aside all of the hype about the fact that he's only 17 and all of the kind of off the hockey stuff that he's having to do with promotion and all the publicity and everything. When you watch him play him when he's at his best, there is nothing like it. He's an absolute phenomenon. And I just said to my son recently, I said, if he's still around playing when he's 50, which there's a lot of players still playing at 50, I'm gonna be something like 94. I'll be
quite a career, isn't it?
I'll be gone by the time he's still playing and still winning stuff, which is a bit sad, but that's life, I suppose.
He'd have to look after himself if he's still playing at 50, wouldn't he? But
yeah, he has to cut down on the kebabs maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
But this is another thing we were talking about last night. There's this tournament that's on at the minute, the Grand Slam. A lot of the big names have been knocked out in the early stages because there's kind of a wave of younger players coming through who are really, really good, and they're going to dominate it for the next 10, 15 years. But they're all stick thin, and they all look after themselves. And there's none of the beer bellies and fags and beer kind of thing that they used to be. Yeah. They're probably doing yoga backstage rather than sinking pints, because they're looking after themselves. Because obviously, small advantages help, and that's the way to do it.
Of course, yeah, right. Well, and on that bombshell, I think we're going to have to let you go, mate. That's fabulous. That
it was a pleasure.
Enjoy the rest of the darts.
Yeah, and it was nice to talk about the fall for a little while as well.
Yeah. We always try and fit it in. Try and get it in early. Get it out of the way.
I will say, before we go, getting right back to the very end of the Fall's career, it ties in with Athletico Minsk, because there was a time when I used to get the train down to London from Durham at 20 to 7 in the morning. So I was out of bed from like 5:30 and driving to Durham station. This was to record Athletico Minsk. Driving to Durham station every week, I would put on New Facts Emerge album.
Yeah,
because
it's a great album.
Minutes of that is a great album. That album is perfect for getting rid of the cobwebs. If you're trying to drive somewhere when you're not fully awake, you put it on top volume and it sorts you out.
Yeah. I'm always banging on about that last line of the Fall. I thought they were phenomenal. They were great.
Yeah.
So we've got a band now called House of All. Well, you've seen us, haven't you? You came to see us.
I saw you in Sunderland,
Pete Greenway, who was the guitarist in that last lineup, he plays on the album. So he's brilliant guitarist. Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal guitarist. Fortunately, you can't do the live gigs, but we've recorded a new album, and his guitar on it is just incredible. Yeah,
that was a great gig at Sunderland that I saw you at. That was really good. One of my pet hits is people who...
We should be up your neck of the woods in March next year, if you fancy coming along.
Oh, we'll do, definitely, yeah. I was going to say one of my pet hits is people who talk at gigs drives me nuts. But
okay, let's talk about that.
The thing about House of All and the sound system of Pop Rex means it's almost impossible for anyone to be heard above the sound of the music. So that's great. That was a brilliant gig.
A venue, that was
a great venue.
Yeah. It did nothing for me tinnitus, put it that way.
No.
It was a great show.
I have to wear earplugs now. Which is, it sounds mad, doesn't it? You've got the music that loud that you've got to put earplugs in. Just turn the bleeding thing down, you would think.
Well, it's a bit difficult with two drummers.
It is a bit difficult with two drummers, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But I'll see you next time, definitely.
Yeah. New album out February next year.
Yeah.
And then do some dates, and I'll let you know when we're playing. Once they're all finalised, and we'll hopefully see you at one of them.
Yeah, I'll definitely be there.
That'd be good.
All right, mate.
Great.
Good to speak to you.
Great to see you both. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Old Brother. You can find all our previous episodes on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be hosted at shows.acast.com/o-brother. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a like. Tell your friends about us. Episodes are released every second Friday, so watch for the next episode in 2 weeks. See you next time, and remember, if you're driving, take your car. Ta-ra.